Well, now for a completely different type of movie. It's amazing on a side note just how wide the horror genre is. Um, when on one side you can fit in Mardi Gras Massacre, and next you can fit in The Orphanage. It's beautiful. Next we come to a Spanish movie titled The Orphanage, in which a woman brings her family back to her childhood home, which used to be an orphanage for children, not particularly a large amount of children, but used to be an orphanage, and she wants to sort of make it a home for children again. Unfortunately, her son has some invisible friends who may not be quite as harmless as you expect. So things happen throughout the movie. The son goes missing, and she's frantically searching for her son, while many, including her husband, sort of giving up hope that he's even alive. So it's a very interesting movie. It's a lot more emotional than you might expect. It's sort of a heavy reliance on drama over horror, but there's still a decent amount of horror in the movie. Some might argue parts are anticlimactic, but I think the movie's, I sort of like what it's going for. And I think a lot of what the movie does is, not necessarily amazing, but I think it gets the job done. But what were your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I remember seeing this in theaters, and I did eventually get the Blu-ray as well. And I think I liked it a bit more back then than I do this second time around, or second or third time around that I've seen, because I watched it this past week. It's a movie where, I don't know if this is just like a Spanish thing or not, but it feels like Del Toro's got his fingerprints all over this movie. Like, it very much feels like very similar to his type of style, I guess. And even though he didn't direct it, it just
he was a producer though. So.
Yeah, so yeah, it definitely feels like it's got a lot of his influence in it. I like the story idea. I think the story itself is pretty decent, but I do find that there's a number of things that prevent me from really enjoying the movie, and a part of that is I think it's a fairly slow movie. It moves quite slow. I think there's some good scenes in the movie, like a few scenes that you can pluck out where you go, I wouldn't mind seeing that moment again. But yeah, and I don't know if it's also partially that I think it's tougher for me to enjoy movies that are in other languages, because, I have to spend more time reading. As you know, I don't read books, and now I have to read my movies. But, I mean, that doesn't heavily influence the experience, but
I was just going to say, it's really funny that you take that position, because I'm the type of guy who, like, I 100% prefer subtitled over dubbed. Like, if a movie's dubbed, I'm going to, after that, I'm going to give it a lower rating almost automatically. So I just think the juxtaposition is so funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a huge preference over dubbed or reading subtitles for foreign films, but yeah, I definitely prefer to not have to read subtitles. And I think with movies in other languages, it's harder to interpret how well someone's acting and things like that. Yeah, there's just something about it that just makes it a little tougher for me.
Was there many people in the movie you thought, did they act that well?
Well, no, not... Well, see, that's the thing. I can't really say anyone put in a great performance or a poor performance. I just can't hear that in their... I mean, I can kind of hear it in the voice, but I can't fully understand it. I don't know. That's just something for me. But like I was saying, there are a couple of scenes or a couple of moments during the movie that I enjoyed. Like the old lady just bumbling around their place in the shed, and the scene with the kid with the bag on his head. The scene where he's in the house. But I think I started kind of losing interest. I think the last best scene in the movie was that car accident scene. It stands out, that scene. And then after that moment, there didn't seem to be a whole lot of other moments that I really enjoyed, at least until towards the end.
None of that paranormal examination stuff did anything for you?
No. No, I thought that was the weakest part of the movie, to be honest.
Yeah, it's my issue with that, and I thought the characters involved were fine, but I mean, you see that all the time in paranormal movies. Just hey, let's get a psychic woman, and it's always an old psychic woman. Like I've never seen one with just a young guy, but so I don't know it. I've seen it in so many other movies, and I thought like I said, the characters do fine, but I mean we've been down that road before. We know how it goes, and ultimately, what does it really change? Not a whole lot, in my opinion.
And fuck that little kid. He was so annoying. Well, there's much more annoying kids in other horror movies, but I really wanted to give him a smack upside the head.
What about the kid that you not like?
I don't know, just he's getting out of line in a few scenes, I thought.
I have nothing, I guess I have less against kids than you do. One thing I did like about this movie, which I don't think it was used necessarily to as great in the fact as it could have been, but I really like the location. It's like a seaside orphanage, and there's a lighthouse. There's never I was hoping for like a climatic scene in the lighthouse, but it never happened. But I really like the location. There's a pretty interesting beach area, and they didn't do as much with it as they could have. But as far as settings go, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I thought the location was good. There's a good location and style to the film. It just drags a bit too much for me, I think. It just, like I said, it's got good moments. It just doesn't have that consistency throughout to keep me entertained from start to finish.
And out of interest, without spoiling anything, what did you think about the ending of the movie? Positive, negative?
Well, yeah, I thought the ending was decent. I've got no problems with that. I enjoyed that enough. I mean, that at least that steered the movie back on course in terms of my enjoyment. Because, like I said, between that and that car accident scene, there wasn't a whole lot that I was really enamored with, I guess.
So this is a movie I've only seen once before. I probably enjoyed it more this time around, if only because when I last saw it as like a teenager and like many teenagers, I could pay attention to a foreign film if you paid me. So I enjoyed it more this time around. I thought there was some pretty strong emotional impact, especially toward the ending. But even throughout the movie, the main woman, whose name is Belén Ruda, and I'm assuming I butchered that because I don't know an ounce of Spanish. I thought she did a really good job. I thought her character was appropriately sympathetic, and I really enjoyed her performance. When the movie goes for the more horror territory, I think it does a pretty good job. But even when it's more like a mystery, when she's trying to figure out, hey, where did my son go? I think it was. I sort of enjoy those engaging mysteries, and I enjoyed it. So I'm going to rate this one a bit above average. I don't think it's amazing, but I still think if you enjoy foreign horror movies and you haven't seen this one, it's probably something you may want to look into. So I'm going to give this a 7.5, and after some difficult deliberation, I'm probably going to round it up to an 8, because I don't know if it's quite that good, but it's a pretty decent movie, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to go. I kind of struggle between a 6 and a 7, but I think I'm going to stick with a 6. Just like I said, there's a lot of moments. There's a few good moments in the movie, but there's also a lot of, I wouldn't say dull moments, but it just moves so slow at times where I'm just kind of wanting something exciting to happen or something to really catch my attention. And yeah, like I said, it just wasn't consistently throughout the movie captivating me. So yeah, I think a 6 for now is fine for me. Who knows, next time I watch it I might enjoy it a little more, because I'm pretty sure I enjoyed it a little more the first time I watched it. So maybe sometimes, your mood at the time, that can play into how well you're enjoying a movie. If you watch a movie at the right time, you're going to enjoy it maybe, and sometimes if you watch it at the wrong time, you don't enjoy it.